Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nitai, 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 Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
To see Srimad, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivrinda ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Shri Mayapur Navadvip Dham ki, Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Ganga Mayi ki, Damuna Mayi ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Bhakti Devi ki, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Sai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. I heard the good news, there's no school today. And no work today too, right? There's work today. Work for... Okay. On the occasion of Shivaratri, there are many things that can be said. Set it down. Set it down. There are many things that can be said about Lord Shiva. And I decided to narrow it down. First, it is said that there are two topics in Gaudiya Vaishnavism that are very complicated. Siva Tattva is one of them. Siva Tattva. Very complicated, very intricate, and there's details and details and details. And even when you've gone all those details, there's more details and more details and more details. So we're not going to cover all the details, but we'll cover some basic truths or tattvas about Lord Shiva. And Guru Tattva is also not easy to understand. In one sense, it's easy to understand. And then the details and details and details, they're very intricate and important and not easy to understand. And one of the main sources that I'll be referring to is Sri Brahma Samhita, and many of you know this very first verse. Let's say it together. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. So this is the introductory verse to the entire Sri Brahma Samhita. Of course, there's details. This is chapter 5 of 100 chapters, and The other 99 are missing, but this one was found. Mahaprabhu found and made a copy, and then copies were distributed, and it became a standard Gaudiya Vaishnava resource, Sri Brahma Samhita, and this chapter 5. So therefore it's 5.1. And here's the translation. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme Godhead. He has an eternal, blissful, spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, and he is the prime cause of all causes. The sun was in your eyes, right? Yeah. You're smart. You're okay. You're okay. You okay with the sun being in your eyes? You can sit up in the shade if you want. The sun's going to move anyway, so. So this particular verse is in the category of Paribhasha Sutra. Paribhasha Sutra means it's a sutra or a particular phrase that's concise. Jiva Goswami gives a definition of what is a Paribhasha Sutra, particularly in his commentary on Sri Brahma Samhita, and says this is the Paribhasha Sutra of the entire Sri Brahma Samhita, not just chapter 5, but all the chapters. And there are some rules that go along with it, with what the definition. Here's pari means around, and bhasha means language or speech. So paribhasha is to explain or define the entire message of the entire work or book. So Srimad Bhagavatam has its Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has its Paribhasa Sutra, and this is the Paribhasa Sutra. So we're going to take a look at some of the chapters that are in Sri Brahma Samhita, and specifically we're going to look at two of them, text 43 and text 45, because they make specific mention of Lord Shiva. And let's see if the sound system picks up. You see that little icon in the lower right corner? This little horn? It means there's an embedded recording. Let's see if it works. Well, guess what? It's not working. Let me see if I can change the setting. a nice recording. Mahatma Prabhu, one of Prabhupada's disciples, he has musical talent with some flute playing and some other things in the background. And so he is a nice recording of the entire Sri Brahma Samhita, made many years ago. He's a gifted musician. So here's translation. Lowest of all is located Devi Dham. Here's a little map showing Devi Dham at the bottom. The mundane world. Next, above it is Mahesh Dham, the abode of Mahesh. Above Mahesh Dham is placed Hari Dham, the abode of Hari. You can see those little skinny, maybe you can't see so well, they're little arrows. The bottom one, Devi Dham, and you can see, maybe you can see in the margin, it's written on the left side, Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Hari Dham. And then, and above them all is located Krishna's own realm named Goloka. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who has allotted their respective authorities to the rulers of those graded realms. So their respective authorities, so Shakti's power. So in each of the realms, there's potency and further potency and further potency, up to the full potency of Govinda. Here's a little summary. Each of these graded realms, that's Bhaktisiddhanta's language, is invested with appropriately graded powers and opulence via the potency of the Supreme Lord Govinda. Here's his words. The Supreme Lord Govinda, by his own direct and indirect power, has constituted those respective potencies of those realms. It has everything to do with the Paribhasa Sutra. That is to say, all of there's one source. And of the one source, there are different realms that come from that one source, going in an upwards direction, Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Hari Dham, Goloka Dham. And Devi Dham has the least, but whatever Devi Dham has is derived from the source, etc. So we're going to hear, this is now, Bhaktisiddhanta's commentary, he's going to draw from sources such as Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, so we can understand something about these graded powers and opulence. So many of you are familiar, don't take it away. I'm going to do it again, saving it, okay. Many of you have seen this chart, it's like a poster, and you know, when it's fully printed, it's like, 5 feet tall. It's a big poster. And if you look closely at the big poster, you can read what it says. There's things in the left margin, things in the right margin. You can't see so well. The contrast is not there. But in the lower left, that's Devi Dham, then Mahesh Dham. So we're going to zoom in from the lower realm, that's one of the universes, and all those other little bubbles, that's other universes. And here's one of those universes at the center. And if you look closely, is everything okay? Everything's okay. Okay, if you look closely, you see Garbhodakshai Vishnu reclining on the Garbhodak ocean. And you see Lakshmi Devi or Rama Devi at his lotus feet. And then you see this nice lotus stem with the 14 planetary systems, 7 lower, 7 upper, etc. And then there's coverings, 7 coverings of the different material elements, etc. And then you keep going beyond the universe, because the universes are floating in the causal ocean, or the ocean of Mahavishnu, because he's emanating. You see Mahavishnu? You can't, this laser pointer. He's on the upper right. Okay. There's Mahavishnu in the upper right. And from him, these universes are coming. And then over to the little left of center, that's Lord Shiva. And then Lord Shiva is riding on Nandi, and he's heading towards Durga. So here's a close-up of that. So we're focusing on what's at the top region. So there's Mahavishnu lying in the causal ocean, or Karana ocean, or Viraja river, interchangeable terms, and he's going to be glancing. And over what he's going to glance at is what's in the lower left. That's Durga. So there's Mahavishnu's glancing. There's the glance. Look at that. And Rama Devi knows his plan. And so she, Rama Devi, takes 2 things. Samasti, that means all the living entities, and entrusts the glance of Mahavishnu with all the living entities. And all the living entities you can't read so well. It's Mahakala Dham. Mahakala Dham. He's glancing, and with those glance, there's the living entities with their karma. The karma has been suspended because time energy is absent. We'll see it the other way. In order for karma to fructify, you have to have time. Tick, 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 tick. Then karma fructifies. Supposing time is suspended, no karma is active. It's latent or dormant or inactive. But living entities, when they're carried by the glance of Mahavishnu, she, Rama Devi, entrusts the living entities with their karma that has been latent, plus the time energy. Because you can't have creation, you can't have events without time. So she takes charge of giving, investing this time energy. And look at this. This time energy has 2 parts. Ichha Shakti and Kriya Shakti. In case you're a spiritual scientist, you want to know what's time made up of. There's subparts. Kriya, the force of activity, and the force of desire, time energy, and the living entities. And then those living entities are cast into Maya Devi, that's another name of Durga, Maya Devi, and then things start to happen. See that there's some text at the very top that just appeared. When the jivas enter the material world, Lord Shiva embraces him, that's the jiva, and covers him, the jiva, with false ego. This is a description of one of the functions of a very complex tattva, Shiva Tattva. He is the source of false ego, or the source of living entities being influenced by false ego. Krishna is the source of everything. That's back to that Paribhasa Sutra. But then there's sub-potencies, and those sub-potencies are invested in different entities. One of those potencies, or one of those personalities that's invested with potencies of Govinda is Lord Shiva. And he's the presiding personality over false ego. And living entities that enter into material nature, Prakriti, the first thing that happens, Lord Shiva embraces them and covers them with false ego. Now, one could say, that's not nice. Why does he do that? Because he's a servant of Govinda. And Govinda doesn't like it either. But the living entities, they're very persistent, stubborn, fanatics. I want to enjoy. I'm going to tell a little story, just to illustrate. One time in America, there was a gathering in such and such place. And then there were some families that came from a distant, this place, that place. And one of those families was really enthusiastic. Can you come to that remote place where we live and conduct a program? I've did a survey and we'll have 30 families. Okay. But here's some advice. The 30 families that said they'll come, they won't come. Half of them will come in time for prasadam. New families. And then the other half won't come, even for prasadam. Oh, no, these are our friends, 30 family, okay. And sure enough, that's what happened. And then later, making the plan for the program plan was, can you do a 101 class, like, super introductory? I said, sure. And a way that to help make it really super introductory, we'll have the kids sit in the front, and I'll speak to the kids. And then the adults can listen, but really I'm speaking to the adults through the kids. He said, oh, that's a good idea. And so it's time for the program. And the only people that came were the regulars from this other place where there's a regular program. And so I asked the kids sit front. Okay, there's a quiz question. You ready? Yeah. But don't give the answer until I ask, and you got to raise your hand. And then all their hands went up. I didn't ask the question yet. Enthusiastic kids. So supposing I'm a living entity cast by the glance of Mahavishnu into Prakriti, and my Icha is, I want to enjoy. And so I attempt. And it doesn't go according to plan. So I take another birth, then another birth, then another birth, another birth. And at a certain point in time, a little light goes on and says, you know what? There's no enjoyment here. I want to go back. So here's the question. The hands are up again. Well, let me ask the question. Why you can't just do a U-turn and go back? Why you can't just turn around and say, this is not working out? Let me go back where I came from. It should be like that, right? So why isn't it like that? You know, waving their arms, and then I called on different young people, and they didn't have anything to say. They were just wanted to be called on. Then there's a little girl, about your age maybe. She quietly raised her hand, and so I called on her. This is regular kids. And she said, I want to go back, but I'm really attached to the idea that I want to enjoy. So it's not just as simple as doing a U-turn, because I'm attached, so I want to enjoy it. This young boy, pay attention. That'll be with you later. Close it. Thank you. So then another fellow raised his hand. He said, you know, that how did he put it? Yeah, I like my independence too much. Little boy, young fellow. I'm too much attached to my independence. I want to enjoy, and I'm too much attached to my independence. So it's just not that U-turn. I have to let go. That's the false ego thing. I'm independent. And independent towards what end? I want to get material enjoyment. So we're stuck. It's not just doing U-turns, because that should be really simple. So this time energy, just again, this is from Sankhya philosophy, but time energy has these two parts, Ichcha Shakti and Kriya Shakti. I want to enjoy Ichcha. The Ichcha can change. I want to be with Krishna. But it doesn't happen so quickly because we're attached to being independent. And Kriya Shakti, then we do stuff, and then we do stuff, and we get entangled in the reactions to stuff that we do. Karma bandhana. So it's a very intricate machine, and because this is Shivaratri, and the topic is Siva Tattva, he has an important role to play. He embraces and covers the living entity with false ego. We don't have a chance. Covered by false ego. So say it the other way. False ego is the first thing to come. False ego is the last thing to go. And what's life without false ego? It's not nothingness. It's not voidism. Or it's not I am God. I am Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. That's not freedom from false ego. Sorry. I'm the eternal servant of Krishna. That's true ego. It's simple. But we're stuck. We're like attached, like anything. You try to get the sticky stuff off, and the other hand is sticky. What to do? Need a lot of mercy. Okay. So, in the purport of that verse that we just touched on, there's some further language. This is now Bhaktisiddhanta's complicated or intricate language. Next above Devi Dham is located Shiva Dham, one portion of which, called Mahakala Dham, is enveloped in darkness. We're going to see the image that illustrates this language. So one portion of which is Mahakala Dham, enveloped in darkness, semicolon. Interpenetrating this portion of Shiva Dham, the Mahakala Dham portion, there shines Sadasiva Loka, full of great light. So what does that mean? So here's a little chart that helps us understand a little bit what that means. At the very, you see that cloud? What's the cloud? The cloud is the Mahatattva. The cloud, or another way of saying, the field of the material energy. So let's go back. And back, during the cosmic annihilation, Prakriti is there, but it's not in a manifest state. It's unmanifest. It's there, but not manifest. And then with the glance of Mahavishnu, it becomes manifest, and it starts differentiating into its various elements. And that's the cloud of the material energy is the Mahatattva. That's that upper left. And below that cloud, there we see Shambhu. Shambhu is the name of Lord Shiva. That's the glance of Mahavishnu. I'll say it again. Shambhu is a term, is a nomenclature of Lord Shiva that indicates the glance. The glance that then contacts Maya, because Vishnu doesn't contact Maya. Lord Shiva contacts Maya. He consorts with Maya. And in that consorting with Maya, the milk becomes yogurt. That's the next verse. That's 45. You with me? Should I say it again? Say it again. Okay. Shambhu is a name of the glance of Mahavishnu because the glance of Mahavishnu is not different than Vishnu. Except the glance of Mahavishnu when glancing at Maya has a different name, Shambhu, because he glances at all kinds of things. But when it's glancing at Maya, that's known as Shambhu because that's a form of Lord Shiva or name of Lord Shiva that becomes converted from the non-different from Vishnu status to a different from Vishnu status, like milk and yogurt. Milk and yogurt are milk or milk product. Milk is milk and milk product. But the milk product, yogurt, is in contact with a souring agent. And the souring agent turns the milk into dahi. But it's milk, but it's not milk. Therefore, Shambhu, in this nice chart, when you got a close-up of the nice chart. So in this drawing, it doesn't say Maya, it says Durga because it's just the same. Maya is just an aspect of Durga, or Durga is an aspect of Maya, the specific for creation. So there's this Mahakala. Can you see it? It's very light. Just above the head of Shambhu is this language, Mahakala Dham. Let's go back. Here's this is Bhaktisiddhanta's intricate language. Next, above Devi Dham, is located Shiva Dham. There's different parts to Shiva Dham. One of those parts, or portions, is Mahakala Dham, which is enveloped in darkness. Interpenetrating this darkness, or the portion of Shiva Dham, there shines Sadasiva Loka, full of great light. So up above, you see that bright light, looks like the sun? That's Sadasiva Loka. Interpenetrating this Mahakala Dham is that light. So there's some light, even when there's clouds in the sky, there's some light gets through the clouds. It's not like a wall. The interpenetrating this Mahakala Dham is the great light. And that's all part of Shiva Loka. So Sadasiva Loka, Mahakala Dham, together they make up Shiva Loka. See, it's intricate. That's what we started. And if you can't sort it out, don't worry about it. You'll probably want, especially if you're paying attention, you'll probably want to go to Sri Brahma Samhita and take a look at it again and ponder over the language of Bhakti Siddhanta that's very precise, and you have to unpack a little bit. Okay, we're going to move on. One of the books that Prabhupada wrote was Light of the Bhagavad, and later it got published. In Light of the Bhagavad is a retelling, for your information, Light of the Bhagavad is a retelling of 10th Canto, Chapter 20, which has nothing to do with Lord Shiva or the process of creation. But so it's the summer season, the rainy season that follows summer, and the fall season. That's chapter 20, canto 10. That's what the book is. Mahesh Dham, this is drawn from Prabhupada's purport, verse 47. Mahesh Dham, we mentioned it already. That's this third, Devi Dham, Mahesh Dham, Hari Dham. So it's the whole category of Siva Tattva. He resides in different ways within this Siva Tattva region. Mahesh Dham is the marginal place. Check this out. Between Hari Dham and Devi Dham, the impersonalists who want to merge into the existence of transcendence are placed within Mahesh Dham. If you want to know if you're an impersonalist and you become attached to the idea of merging with the Supreme, where do you go? Now you know where you go. Mahesh Dham. It's neither here nor there. Makes sense, doesn't it? Because above Mahesh Dham is Hari Dham. That's Vaikuntha. And here we are, Devi Dham. So you don't go to Vaikuntha, but you don't stay here. Where do you go? Mahesh Dham. Cool, huh? So now you know. But not all living. There's different gradations of impersonalists. That's another story. Now back to Brahma Samhita text 43. Here's the language that we read twice. Here it is the third time. Above Devi Dham is located Shiva Dham, one portion of which, called Mahakala Dham, is enveloped in darkness. Interpenetrating this portion of Shiva Dham, there shines Sadasiva Loka, full of great light. Still, further, in the same purport, we're in text 43. Above the same, what's the same? It's Mahakala Dham. Above the same appears Haridham, or the transcendental Vaikuntha, the potency of Devi Dham, in the form of the extension of Maya, and that of Shivaloka, consisting of time, space, and matter, are the potencies of the separated particles, that's living entities. Living entities are separated particles. Yes? You sure? Living entities are separated particles. Mami vangsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Living entities are angsas, separated angsas of the Supreme, like little particles from the Supreme. These are the potencies of the separated particles Bhaktisiddhanta's language, pervaded by the penumbral reflection of the subjective portion of the divinity. What was that? Well, some of you like 8th grade science. And here's a little 8th grade science drawing. There's, on the left, there's a light source. There, in the center, there's an opaque, what does opaque mean? Some light goes through, but not completely. Opaque. And then there's a screen. And on the screen, it shows the dark center part, where it's just shadow. And that dark center part that's called, that's just shadow, is called umbra. 8th grade science. Those of you that are the older generation, just remember 8th grade science. And then there's an area surrounding that umbra, that dark shadow, it's not a full shadow, it's a penumbra. And that's how this penumbra is formed. Because some light goes past that little opaque surface, but it still makes a shadow because it's opaque. It's not solid. It's just, so there's umbra, penumbra. 2 types of shadows. That's 8th grade science. So let's go back to Bhaktisiddhanta's purport. So there's potencies of the jivas. Remember that the big picture, it says these different graded realms are invested with appropriate potencies by the one source of everything. The one source of everything, Govinda. And he invests potencies in those gradations of realms. And one of those gradations of realms is Devidam. That's where we are. Bangalore and, the whole place is Devidam. And there's potencies in this realm coming from Govinda. Above the same appears Haridam. So the potency of Devidam in the form of the extension of Maya, and that of Shivaloka, going up, but not, we heard what Shivaloka is, consisting of time, space, and matter, are the potencies of the separated particles, that's us, pervaded by the penumbral reflection of the subjective portion of the divinity. So, subjective portion means Vishnu. It's just technical, but, Bhaktisiddhanta is technical. Living entities were Jiva Tattva. And Vishnu is Vishnu Tattva. Vishnu Tattva is an expansion of Govinda. Let's start it. Govinda expands as the Chaturvyuha. Balaram expands as the Chaturvyuha. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So those are direct expansions. They're called swangsa, direct expansions. Then there's expansions of the expansions. Vibhinangsa. And the Vibhinangsa, in English, it's kala. So there's the expansion, angsa. And there's the expansion of the expansion, that's kala. Or, Bhaktisiddhanta's language is subjective portions. Subjective to what? To the object, the direct expansion. This is Shivaratri. I'm attempting to give a very complex topic a rather simple explanation. It gets more complicated and more complicated and more complicated. That's okay. We want to understand who is Lord Shiva. And for sure, you're going to walk out of here saying, wow, this is really complicated. But he has an important role to play in creation. He's Vishnu, but not Vishnu. He's yogurt that's like milk product, but not milk. Transformed. Due to his function. He's contacting Maya. He's consorts with Maya. Vishnu doesn't. Shiva does. On behalf of. Okay, so there's the penumbra. Now we're going up. You see at the very, very bottom, that's that Shiva Loka, the bright light at the bottom. Then, so that's above the Mahatattva, but it's part of Shiva Loka. And keep going up, and now we're in the realm of Haridam. Shoo, we made it. And there's all these little bright lights. Those bright lights are forms of Vishnu or abodes of Vishnu in Haridam. And then keep going up. At the very, very, very top, that's Krishna Loka. Yay, we made it. Krishna Loka. Goloka Vrindavan. And there in the center of Goloka Vrindavan, there's a tree. And underneath the tree are Radha and Krishna, internally enjoying a Kalpavriksha tree, wish-fulfilling tree. Here's another nice picture. There's the Kalpavriksha tree. There's Radha and Krishna, Krishna with its flute, of course. And then there's Gopas and there's Gopis. And look closely, and what's on the left side, that's Lord Chaitanya. My gosh, that's where Lord Chaitanya's abode is, isn't it? In the center part, in the corolla of the lotus, is a portion, one quadrant, that means 1/4, of the abode of Goloka Vrindavan is Shvetadweep. Next time you're reciting Sri Brahma Samhita, just like we did the other day, notice in those last two verses, Shriya Kanta, so toward the very last part is Shvetadweep. Bhaktisiddhanta is very clear in his commentary on those verses. That's where Lord Chaitanya and his associates eternally engage in Sankirtan. They don't go out on the street because there's no, seeing the people that are engaged in karmic activities. There's nothing like that. But they have Sankirtan. Haribol. In Shvetadweep, in the spiritual world. And here's want to hear something really nice? Of course. Okay, here's something really nice. Those who are followers of Lord Chaitanya have a special blessing. Supposing you become like a really good devotee. Supposing you become a pure devotee. Supposing you attain prema bhakti. Where do you go? Well, you go to both places. Come again? A form is manifest that takes part in Krishna's pastimes, and a form takes part in Gauranga Mahaprabhu's pastimes in Goloka Vrindavan. No explanation of technology. It's not one soul becomes two souls. That's not the idea. But the bhava of the ecstasy of love of God that's with Lord Chaitanya and with Krishna, both. Prabhus become prema bhaktas. Okay. Well, I'm not going to get very far. Because this is slide number 20, and there's 53. But I'm going slowly because even going slowly is hard to digest, assimilate, comprehend. So I won't go the whole thing. But we'll at least start to touch text 45. So here's further. This is Jiva Goswami's commentary on text 43. The Shambhu Tattva, remember the first line, Shiva Tattva, saying Shambhu is the glance. The Shambhu Tattva, or principle of Lord Shiva, is like a lamp. Different metaphor than milk touched by yogurt, milk touched by a souring agent. This is a lamp covered with carbon because of being in charge of the mode of ignorance. That's another thing, and along with false ego, he's in charge, he's the presiding deity of that mode. It's one of the functions of Lord Shiva. So he's likened by Jiva Goswami to a lamp covered with carbon because of being in charge of the mode of ignorance. The illumination from such a lamp is very minute. Therefore, the power of Lord Shiva cannot compare to that of the Vishnu principle. Clear? Very easy. That was easy. So, thus, not Vishnu, but not Vishnu. So here's a little lamp. Shambhu Tattva, the principle of Lord Shiva, is like a lamp covered with carbon. The illumination from such a lamp is very minute. So that's the graded potencies, the language of Bhakti Siddhanta, going back to text 43. Govinda invests graded potencies. So Lord Shiva has further potency than the living entity, or those that are within Devidam, but if not the fullness of Lord Vishnu. What to speak of Govinda? Okay, little complication, a little more intricate. There are two Sadasivas. Really? Uh-oh, getting more complicated. One is in Vaikuntha, and the other is in Sadasiva Loka. You remember the Sadasiva Loka? It's in this marginal position. It's still within the Maheshdam region. It's not in the Haridam region. Sadasiva Loka is in the Maheshdam region. But then there's Sadashiva that is in Sadasiva Loka as well as in Vaikuntha. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 6. Rudra, who is an expansion of Sadashiva and who appears in unlimited universes, is also a guna avatar. Which guna? Tamagun, right? And is the ornament of all the demigods in the endless universes. That's the verse. Here's Prabhupada's purport. In the Vayu Purana, there's a description of Sadashiva in one of the Vaikuntha planets. That Sadashiva is a direct expansion of Krishna's form for pastimes. That's in the Angsa category. It is said that Sadashiva, or Lord Shambhu, is an expansion from the Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha planets. Parentheses, Lord Vishnu. And that his consort, Mahamaya, is an expansion of Ramadevi, or Lakshmi. Mahamaya is the origin or birthplace of material nature. The puzzle pieces are starting to fit, I hope. At least, you read it carefully and it's possible. In the Puranas, it is found that Shiva appears sometimes from the heads, plural, of Brahma, and sometimes from the head of Vishnu. Canto 5, Chapter 25. The annihilator, Rudra, is born from Sankarshana, and the ultimate fire to burn the whole creation. I warned you, it's complicated. But we're supposed to learn these things, at least slowly. And later, the very next verse, Sri Sadasiva also desires only to be a servant of Lord Krishna. He always says, I am a servant of Lord Krishna. Okay, there's two Sadashivas, one in the Vaikuntha realm and one in the Maheshdam realm. Now we're going to go to explore a little bit more the Vaikuntha Sadashiva. Okay? Permission granted? Okay. Now, a very nice reference source is Laghu Bhagavatamrita. What's that? Laghu Bhagavatamrita is a book by Rupa Goswami that just has one topic, but it's like that thick. Laghu Bhagavatamrita. It's avatars of Vishnu. Let's go back. There's a source of all avatars. That's the avatari. That's Govinda. And he is the cause of all causes. So these other are causes, but he's the cause of the causes. And in the Vaikuntha realm, there's one of those is Sadashiva. And here's what Laghu Bhagavatamrita says, Rupa Goswami's writing. The form called Sadashiva, this is the Vaikuntha Sadashiva, is devoid of any trace of tamas. He is directly Narayana, the Vilas or Svangsa of SwamiAbodes Krishna, and is the cause of all causes. That's one of the Sadashivas. That form is described as dwelling on Shivaloka. In the Vaikuntha realm, there's a Vaikuntha realm, Shivaloka, where Sadashiva resides, as found in the Vayu Purana and other scriptures. Baladev Vijayabhusan makes a nice commentary. Krishna is the Swayam Rupa, original. Swayam Rupa, original, his own form. And Narayana and the other forms are Vilas and Swangsa forms. If you don't know this terminology, don't worry about it. You can study it later. But Narayana and other forms, they're in categories. But so Narayana is not the original. The original is Krishna, the Swayam Rupa, and then there others are expansions from him. The form called Sadashiva, who is without a trace of tamagun, who is the cause of all causes, is the Narayana Vilas, or pastime form of Swayam Rupa Krishna. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, the names Narayana, Achyuta, and Shiva are used to indicate only one person. When the Kaivalya Upanishad mentions Uma, that word refers to Kirti, a consort of Narayana. Trilochana means, quote, one who sees all the three divisions of time. Trilochana or Trikalagya sees all the divisions of time. Quoting Vayu Purana, Jiva Goswami in the Bhagavat Sandarbha identifies this form and planet in the same way. So all of that, you just to keep it really simple, if you haven't captured all the details, there's a Sadasiva in Vaikuntha, and there's a Sadasiva in the Maheshdam region. And they're not the same. One is without a trace, and the other is like carbon on glass. Clear? Just keeping it simple. Okay. Well, I'm not going to go into this one because it's too complicated. Where is this abode of Mahesh? And in another time, another circumstance, I'll share with you scriptural reference that shows there's 8 of them. But we're not going to go there today. Shoo, thank you, Maharaj. Okay, now we're going to text 45. And we're almost done because we're moving along anyways. Okay, well, there's some words you recognize right away. There's Shira and there's Dadhi. Just as milk is transformed into curd by the action of acids, but yet the effect of curd is neither the same as nor different from its cause, namely milk. There's a lemon, that's a souring agent. And it produces dahi. So, I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whom the state of Shambhu, that's the glance of Mahavishnu, correct? The state of Shambhu is a transformation for the performance of the work of destruction. Of course, it's involved in the work of creation as well, Shambhu. But he is in charge of Tamagun, which is the destructive principle. So there's milk splashing around. The non-distinction, this is important, very important in today's topic of Shiva Tattva. The non-distinction between Krishna and Shiva, the non-distinction between Krishna and Shiva is established by the fact that just as milk treated with acids turns into curd, so Godhead becomes a subservient when he himself attains a distinct personality by the addition of a particular element of adulteration. Here, Bhaktisiddhanta's language. The said adulterating principle is constituted of a combination of, so this is Shiva Tattva, the stupefying quality of diluting energy. So Vishnu doesn't become stupefied, but Shiva becomes stupefied for the purpose of creation. And the quality of non-plentitude of the marginal potency. Now we're marginal potency. Vishnu, Lord Shiva is not a jiva. He's not marginal potency. But there is a non-plentitude factor of jivas that a portion of which is shared by Lord Shiva, that is non-plentitude. He's not full. Shiva is not full. Vishnu. He's a different tattva. He's in between this and that. And that's our topic, Shiva Tattva. And there's a third, a slight degree of the ecstatic cum cognitive principle of the plenary spiritual potency. So he's invested with, he's in the realm, Govinda invests potencies according to these graded realms. So there's a above the living entity position of Lord Shiva, but there's a below Lord Vishnu position of Lord Shiva. He's doing Bhaktisiddhanta's stuff. He's very critically analyzing according to Shastra. From text 33 purport. This is now 33 of Sri Brahma Samhita. Goloka reveals itself to every jiva soul when he, that's the jiva, is under the influence of the spiritual cognitive potency, joined to the essence of ecstatic energy. So we're the marginal potency, that's us. And we can get some glimpse of the spiritual world when there's a mixture of the living entity with these two other things. The spiritual cognitive potency and the ecstatic potency. That's Radharani, devotional service. And in that devotional service mood, the original higher consciousness of the living entity becomes awakened to some degree, and then we can start to understand Goloka. The ecstatic function of devotion is boundless and is surcharged with unalloyed transcendental knowledge. You know, what another way of saying the same thing is in Canto 1, Chapter 2, when one engages in devotional service, causelessly, knowledge of detachment awaken. That is to say, living entities, potentially, we have all knowledge. I mean, you know, the jiva, living entities worth of knowledge. It's already intrinsically there. And by contact with the ecstatic potency, you know, Radharani, or devotional service, Bhakti Devi, that knowledge becomes awakened to a greater or lesser degree. And according to that knowledge potency and the ecstatic potency, we can get a glimpse of spiritual reality or the spiritual world or Goloka. Aren't you glad it's Shivaratri? Couple more, and then we're going to close. This is from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 21. Besides, this is the graded realms thing. Besides all the above mentioned 50 qualities, Krishna possesses 5 more, which are sometimes partially manifested in the persons of Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. Graded. So here's the next 5. Changeless, all cognizant, ever fresh, Satchitananda, possessing all mystic perfections. So Krishna has all them in full. Lord Shiva has a little bit. That living entities don't have. And similar understanding, this is Brahma Samhita, text 49. The divine nature is present in a greater measure in Shambhu than in Brahma. This is comparing Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the son, or manifest by the body of Lord Brahma. But Lord Shiva has qualities greater than Brahma, his father, but not the same as Vishnu. The fundamental significance of the above is that the aggregate of 50 attributes belonging to the jiva are present in a fuller measure in Brahma, who possesses, in a lesser degree, 5 more attributes which are not found in jivas. But in Shambhu, both the 50 attributes of the jivas and also 5 additional attributes found in Brahma are present even in greater measure than in Brahma. It's clear. Should be clear. This is a nice example. After the Daksha Yajna, Lord Shiva went on a rampage and destroying this and that and the other thing and the other thing and the other thing. And, Parvati burnt her body, the daughter of Daksha, because of her connection with him, because he was insulting Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva has just burnt the whole scene. Lord Brahma comes to pacify Daksha, pacify Lord Shiva. It's a very nice painting. I think I'm just going to do a couple more verses and we'll end. Lord Shiva has a function both in creation. Remember the creation part? He's the glance, but he also has a function in destruction. Shambhu, in pursuance of the will of Govinda, works in union with his consort Durga Devi by his own time energy. It's for creation. Govinda manifests himself as a guna avatar in the form of Shambhu, who is the separated portion of Govinda imbued with the principle of his subjective plenary portion. We heard this language already. Shambhu performs the work of destruction of the material world. So he's busy. All under the will of the personality of Godhead. He's the best of all devotees. In one way of looking at who's the best of devotees. Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. One last little message. The creation of Rudra from between the eyebrows of Brahma, this is third canto, as the result of his anger generated from the mode of passion, partly touched by ignorance, is very significant. In Bhagavad Gita 3:37, the principle of Rudra is described. Krodha, anger, is the product of kama, lust, which is the result of the mode of passion. When lust and hankering are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha appears, which is the formidable enemy of the conditioned soul, the most sinful and inimical passion is represented as ahankar. Who's in charge of that one? Lord Shiva. Or false egocentric attitude of thinking oneself to be all in all. Such an egocentric attitude on the part of the conditioned soul who is completely under the control of the material nature is described in Bhagavad Gita as foolish. The egocentric, this is in big letters, the egocentric attitude is a manifestation of the Rudra principle in the heart, wherein Krodha, or anger, is generated. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. One stroke. Then there's details and details and details, but the one stroke takes care of everything. And if you, as you become an accomplished Vaishnava, you understand the everything and everything and everything, little by little. And especially if you hear this Sri Brahma Samhita, then you can understand little by little. Little by little, and just if you don't understand little by little, Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami, and you're safe. Okay. Well, that's slide number 38 of 53. I'm going to end and see if there's some discussion. You have some topic. Where's our... You go ahead. A runner. Get ready. Get ready. He's going to just... Go ahead.
Maybe 2 to 3 things here. The we know there are the total 64 qualities of of Krishna.
Yes.
Krishna has 64, Vishnu has 60,
Yes.
and Shiva has 55
Yes.
in full. So the Sadasiva of Vaikuntha
Yes.
is the one who has 60,
Yeah.
and the Sadashiva of the material world is the one who has 55.
That's right. That's right.
And many times, the heads of, like, say, the Advaita mats, they often proclaim there is no difference between Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, it's all one, etc. They do say it. And we saw a similar reference from the Vayu Purana that you were showing.
Yes.
So can we say that they are right, but they probably are incomplete in their understanding?
Yes.
Because they ascribe the Shiva of Kailasa and the Shiva of the Sadashiva Loka also the same. They don't make those distinctions. And
Yes.
in that reason, they are incomplete.
Yes.
Is that?
Yes. There should, to add to what you just said, which is repeating what we saw on the screen, to add, there's a statement that I didn't cover yet, but in his Bhakti Sandarbha, Bhagavat Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami says, whenever we read about the non-difference between Lord Shiva and Krishna, it is to be understood that it's because of the dearness of Lord Shiva to Lord Krishna that their non-difference statement is to be processed or is to be understood. There, anyway, it's a simple. It just adds to what you said.
And
Should I say it again? I think I should say it again. Bhagavat Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami writes, whenever we read or hear reference that Lord Shiva and Krishna are the same, we should understand it that it's because the statement is indicating how dear Lord Shiva is to Krishna. The oneness is not, 100% identical. This is identical with that. It's indicating how dear Lord Shiva is to Krishna. Next.
And one last thing. We have the 10 offenses to the holy name. It's an offense to consider the names of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
And we don't make a distinction between Vishnu and Krishna in terms of the offense, but the Sadashiva in the Vaikuntha Loka,
That's a detail. And still, Sadashiva is of the Supreme. He's not the Supreme. Balaram is Krishna's first expansion. Balaram is not the source of everyone and everything. Govinda is. So there's, it's a science. And if you're not a scientist, then you get confused. That right back behind him. I see your hand in the back. Just relax. We'll get there. And it's now 9:32. What time are you supposed to end? 9:45. I'm going to watch my watch. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is, those who are impersonalists, they go to Shivaloka.
They go to Shiva Loka.
Yeah. One of the slide.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So I'd like to know what activities they do.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What else you want to know?
And one more thing is if Lord Shiva is the pure devotee, so why he don't guide them to Vishnu or Krishna? Because devotees, if as the demigods, any demigod or someone, they give guidance. Even if someone approaches them, they guide them to worship Lord Vishnu or Krishna. So
He's special. he smiles and gives them stuff that's not good for them. He's Ashutosh, and that's one of his functions. You remember that example was 2 days ago of the Brahmana who was approached by a Shaivite, the son of a king, and he wanted the Brahmana, who is the Vishnu Bhakta, to worship his his Shivalinga. Remember that? And then Lord Nrsingadev came out of the Shivalinga to protect him. So he's the basis to protect his devotee. So it's Govindamadi Purusham Tamaha Bhajami. And to understand that truth, it's involved. But the truth itself is simple. And then this connection, that connection, this pastime, that situation, so forth and so on. On the occasion, when discussing the topic of Shiva Tattva, it's really good to remember there's one source of everything, and it's not Lord Shiva. However, the gradations, that little section, there's 8 different places where Shiva resides. One of them is in one of the layers of the universe, in the false ego layer. That's where Lord Shiva, one of his abodes. He resides there, presides there, in all kinds of places. Here's a little. It's funny, but it's nice. Something that I've been doing every year for 35 plus years is we have a farm community in mid-Pennsylvania. Lots of cows. It's a long-standing project, Gita Nagari. And every year for 35 years we've been conducting gatherings on different topics. So this coming Memorial Day weekend, that's a national holiday in America, Garuda Prabhu is going to be coming. And Garuda Prabhu is a PhD Sanskrit graduate from Harvard University. He's a luminary. And he's written some books. And of those books that he's written, they're very, very elevated topics. But he's going to be able to present them, he promised me. He'll be able to present them so it doesn't get so high people are going to break their neck looking up. It's going to be simple enough on Krishna's Rasa Leela dance. And I thought, whoa, wait a minute. No, I know how to do it. So he said, one of the things that he shared with me, just as part of it, besides he's an elevated scholar, he is a down-to-earth comedian. He said, he said, I can't say it the way that he said it, but people in India understand subtleties. And he used as the example what he called the head wobble. He said, one thing this can mean is yes. Another is it can mean no. Another can mean yes and no. Then he went on like 8 other things, and people in India know the head wobble means this. Doesn't mean that or the other options. So he was saying that people that have some understanding of Sanskrit, there are shades of meaning of words. And it's not only allowed, it's just part of Sanskrit. And so this means, with the guidance of an acharya, then we can start to understand deeper, subtler meanings with the same gesture. He called it the head wobble. So you live in Bangalore and you're not likely to come to Gitanagari, but it's all going to be recorded, and I encourage you to view it afterwards, because he's brilliant and he's really funny. And he's going to be teaching something really high, but not like what I just did. What I just, I tried to not dumb it down. This is a phrase that some people, my God brothers, use. Don't take subtle topics and dumb it down. Explain it, make reference, and then explain it in a way that newer people can understand. But, it is what it is. Bhaktisiddhanta is who he is. He's a refined personality. And that there's subtle points. And if you don't understand the subtle points, here's Prabhupada's instruction. Read it again. This is his instruction about nectar devotion. If you've read something, you don't understand it, read it again. After reading again, you still don't understand it, read it again. And you read it again and again, and eventually you start to understand it. He didn't want to be bothered with everybody's, 16,000 questions. He just giving a summary study of Rupa Goswami's teachings. It's elevated teachings. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And nectar devotion is elevated. So it's not easy to understand. But hear it again and hear it again. I see multiple hands. It's like universal form.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, one slide you mentioned that when Jiva enter into the material world, Lord Shiva embraced him and covered him with the false ego.
Yes, I remember that one.
And after that false ego, from the false ego, our hearts, that dualities is coming, generated.
What happens next?
Dualities.
Duality.
It results the suffering, attachments and illusion. So how we can get out from these dualities?
You're stuck.
That is my question.
Forget it. You can't get out. Bhakti. That's the doorway. And then what is bhakti? Anyabhilasharashunyam jnana karma dhyanavartam anukolyena krishna anushilanam bhakti ruttamam. That's what it is. That's the Paribhasa Sutra of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So that's how. And that means that, the influence of false, it's just like this question of these children. False ego's got a hold on us. And we're holding on to false ego, both. It's embracing us, and we're embracing it. So that by the process of bhakti, and how does bhakti begin, and what's it made up of, and that's the topic of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So you do bhakti yoga. And according to Kapila Dev's teachings in Canto 3, bhakti has the power to dissolve false ego. Yay! I see we have 3 minutes left.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Thank you for the class and making this complicated Shiva Tattva so simple. Guru Maharaj, if we see Srimad Bhagavatam, we see that Lord Vishnu, he takes many incarnations, Boar, Matsya, and so forth.
Etc.
Yeah, etc. And Lord Shiva is like Prachetas, he is preaching to them, or in Chitraketu pastime, he is giving class to the sages. In many Puranas, you are like Mother Parvati is asking question and Lord Shiva is answering. So it seems that Lord Vishnu is enacting the pastimes and Lord Shiva is busy in describing those pastimes? Is that observation relevant?
Did you catch what he said? Yes, there's places. There's a fantastic section where Lord Shiva, Canto 4, Lord Shiva instructs the Prachetas after they've been underwater meditating for 10,000 years. He's very pleased and he comes and gives them teachings on topmost bhakti. And it's Rudra Gita. It's really a nice section. So depending upon the audience, he's going to give corresponding to their taste and their capacity. So the answer to your question, if I've understood correctly, the answer is yes, depending upon the circumstance. And he's got a big repertoire. Because he's Ashutosh. Okay, I'm looking at my watch and it says it's time to end. Srila Prabhupada ki. Gaur Premanandi. Look who's here. I didn't see you. You were here the whole time? Oh, hiding.
Hare Krishna. At the outset, I have to offer an apology for not being here all these days. I just came in this morning and I tried my best to get here earlier. But I'm happy at least today I made it and had your darshan and heard your class. Maharaj, we are very grateful. We are very honored. We are very privileged. We are very blessed. You have made our lives very auspicious and blessed by your presence here this year, like so many other previous years. Maharaj, we hope you will continue this tradition. I just heard you say that for 35 years in Gita Nagari you were doing something year after year. So I hope you'll add your visit to Giridhari Mandir also into that calendar of events. So Maharaj, on behalf of all the devotees assembled here who are listening online, who have attended your programs all these days, offer a very deep, heartfelt gratitude, not just for visiting us, but for whatever you're doing here and in America and in other parts of the world. You're such an exemplary Acharya. We're so proud of you and everything that you have done. We pray on this day very humbly to our dear beloved deities, Shri Shri Gandharvika Giridhari, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Sarva Vigna Vinash, Narsinghadev Bhagavan, Lakshmi Narsinghadev, Anantadev. We also pray to Shri Prahlad Maharaj. We also pray to Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara that they should bless you with a long life, great health, and more success in your efforts to serve the mission of the Guru Parampara and Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, we're very proud of you and we're very grateful to you, Maharaj. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we are very happy that we also we were able to host an initiation ceremony here. We're happy we could be of some service to you and all the devotees who took initiation Diksha here. Maharaj, if by chance any of the devotees here have committed any mistake, offense, on behalf of all of them, I'm requesting you to kindly forgive us today. Shivaratri, auspicious day. You spoke about Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is Ashutosha. You spoke, and you also mentioned that they are so close, and so Krishna is likes Lord Shiva so much. The way you spoke, we could see how much you also relish speaking about Bhagavatam, and so we beg you, Maharaj, that you kindly forgive us for any act of omission or commission. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Thank you. And on this day, I also want to thank the senior disciples of His Holiness, principally Shamkund Pramod, his good wife, Pranvalabha, Priyadarshan, Yugal Kishore, Harishyam Prabhu and his wife, and so many others. Please pardon me if I missed out some of your names. For hosting, for doing this program so nicely. And let's hope Maharaj keeps coming year after year. Hare Krishna. For whom visiting him?
For the outstation devotees who have come, Prabhu has some gifts for them.
So,
I'll just-
I just like smile.
Okay.
I don't have to.
I'll just unmute. So for all the devotees, the devotee families, at one member from the devotee family who has come from out of Bangalore, some are from US, some are from Hyderabad and Vrindavan and other places. The temple management and Vardha Krishna Prabhu want to honor you that you have come here for this Harikatha. Please collect a gift from Vardha Krishna Prabhu. Come forward, one from each family. And yes, we can start with we can start with Adishesh Prabhu. Then Murali Vilas Prabhu, please come forward. And the rest can. Hemasundari Mataji.
Parama Karuna Prabhu, Sucharita Mataji, Dina Dayal Prabhu, Pran Gorang Prabhu, Satyavrata Prabhu, Mahashakti Mataji,